what's up, dude? Welcome back. Pretty
Hey, what's going on, man?
uneventful weekend. We didn't have any mixed martial arts to watch this past weekend. Well, nothing from the UFC, although we weren't without plenty of nail-biting entertainment. I don't know if that football game, that Niners game, wasn't so much of a nail-biter, actually. But
No, that was one where I just like out of nowhere started hearing Chris Benoit's intro music, dog. I was just like, oh shit.
man, where did it all go wrong so quickly? I mean, first of all, Brock Purdy injuring his elbow.
Yeah.
Was it an elbow injury?
I think for me, the big thing that went wrong was it was 4th and 3, and the Eagles went for it, and then the guy didn't catch it, and then the Niners should have challenged. They didn't challenge, and then the Eagles scored. I think if they challenge there, the whole game just goes different. But Purdy doesn't get hurt, and then things just change.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's tough, but I mean, it's just one of those rough fucking deals, dude. As a 49ers fan, it's been that way for, I don't know, like since 1994. So it's like whatever. But I mean, it was an amazing year for me to watch. I mean, fuck, they won 12 games in a row.
Yeah. No, it was a really entertaining year. I mean, I had a lot of 49ers on my fantasy team, so I ended up watching a lot of 49ers games this year. And yeah, it was.
I mean, they didn't lose
entertaining.
in the division. They beat Seattle 3 times.
Yeah.
They knocked the Raiders out of playoff contention. They beat the Cowboys again in the playoffs. It's like, okay. I heard it was so funny, dude. A friend of mine, he's a Cowboys fan. He's a real piece of shit. You know what I mean? Like one of those, like if you spend as much time on honoring your restraining order and winning in family court, maybe things would go different. But like now, you're good at sending memes about football team. And he's not even but everybody chooses their things in life.
Sure.
What they want to do.
Yeah, of course.
So they send me he's a Cowboys fan, and he sends me a Raiders meme, and it's called like Samoan Raiders fan. So it's this Samoan guy, and he made a music video about the Niners losing, right?
Uh-huh.
And he's like, man, Niner fans so mad, Niner fans so mad. And I was like, dang, dude. And like, I am mad. But it's like, well, you made a music video saying a team's mad, but this team beat your team months ago, and you made a whole music video about it. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I put in the comments, right? And it's like all Samoans, because it's like a Samoan Raiders fan or whatever, right?
Yeah. And
so I go, and it was very well produced, the auto-tune. So I go, is this the same auto-tune that you used to catfish Manti Te'o? and I go, damn, you got a Netflix special, and now you're doing this, dude. Way to go, girl. And my fucking DMs went off, and then this guy fucking hit me up. Fuck
DMs.
Yeah,
they're
dude,
literally.
Fuck you. Yeah, and then I'm private, so I go, okay, yeah, and it was from the Raider Samoan, so I go, oh, okay, so I answered it, and I was like, oh, what's going on, dog? And then he's like, yeah, fuck you, bitch. What are you fucking jobless, blah blah? And I was like, dude, don't make me call Dog the Bounty Hunter on you, dude. You'll be smoking a cigarette in the back of an expedition, fucking praying, dog.
Hit him again, Leland.
Yeah,
Hit him with the taser, Leland.
And I go, you're not going to sneak up on me. I'm going to hear your bare feet on the concrete. Like, you're not going to sneak up on me. Get the fuck out of here, piece of shit. They're such fucking roach. I said it last night. They're fucking roaches, dude. You don't hear shit from them for a month. And then it's like my phone was going off. Bing, 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 bing. Wow, dude.
Celebrating another team's win, of course.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Well, my team didn't make it to the Super Bowl either.
That was wrong.
Bengals drop. We got a lot of bullshit calls against us, man.
Welcome to how that works, dog, because that shit is for real.
Yeah, that was a tough one. We tied it up a few times. We never quite took the lead, though. We ended up dropping it, losing to a field goal, 23-20. So we're looking at an Eagles-Chiefs Super Bowl now. And nobody I know officially gives a fuck. So
yeah, there was one where Patrick Mahomes' knee was down on the ground. the ball was in his hand. The ref is looking right at his knee and the hand. He lets the ball go. The guy catches it, and then he gets a first down, or something like that.
Oh.
And then they're like, yeah. And then they replay it, and they're like, nah, dude, don't even trip, dog. And it's like, what the fuck?
Better not deviate from the script.
Yeah. And there's like 3 different holdings on one play. On that play that he fucking got the first, there's like 3 different holding. And then they're like, well, this wasn't holding, though. And it's like, well, what about the other 3? Like, what the fuck? Dude? In the game the Niners played against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, they had the 49ers had one of the most savage fucking D-lines, and then Nick Bosa was a rookie that year. And the Chiefs didn't have the best offensive line. And they didn't hold, surprisingly, against one of the best D-lines in like league history, they didn't hold once. And Patrick Mahomes running around everywhere, didn't hold once. And then they showed Nick Bosa's jersey after the game, dude, torn to pieces on the inside, like where you would hold. And it's like, dude, it just really makes you think. But
you can tell we're stalling because we don't have a whole lot to talk about.
Salty
MMA-wise.
fucking bitch. I'm a salty ass piece of shit, dude. You want to get to talking about it, dude? Let's talk about it, dude. Fuck them.
No, it's okay. I think it is kind of interesting how like it works out sports wise, schedule wise, because all I watch is sports wise is pretty much MMA and football now, and I'm on my my 7th year actually watching football. And I still haven't adjusted to the off season and getting used to the fact that like,
my favorite
this entire sport goes away for part of the year. But whereas mixed martial arts, we have it year round to varying degrees of quality. Speaking of quality, let's talk about this Lewis versus Spivac fight night card this weekend.
The more I think about it, dude, I think it might end up being sneak because it's the Road to UFC finale, right? So it's like basically the best Asian.
My face is like, fuck if I know, dude.
Is basically they've been having a whole like side mission that's like ending on Saturday, where it's like the best fighters from like different Asian countries.
That explains a whole fucking lot. Yeah.
And then so this may be a fucking wild ass banger. And then Tatsuro Taira's on it. I mean, that's a guy that I've straight up taking it to the base for a couple of times. so you know, I'm excited to watch that, so that's cool. And then Sergey Spivac, we love our we don't have to get into how much we have an affinity for the boys from that part of the country, so.
You mentioned Tatsuro Taira, the 12-0 undefeated prospect, 2-0 inside the UFC. That's definitely an exciting one to catch the early card for.
I like him more than Mokaev. I'm actually my cock is a little harder for him than it is for Muhammad Mokaev.
I like Tatsuro Taira's the killer instinct he has compared to Mokaev, because Mokaev, you can tell, is just an ace like all across the board, but he seems very content to just control you. Tatsuro Taira is not that. Tatsuro Taira looks like he stepped out of an anime, or like a K-pop group, but he's just as violent as fuck. He's a super deceptive looking guy.
And he's a good-looking dude. He's a fucking, to your point, good-looking guy. He's got it, and the fact that it's just insane to see a Japanese guy get down like that for me, because those guys, when they're wired a certain way, they get crazy with it.
Right.
So,
So this is, as far as about the road to the UFC, this is a little bit of like a tournament situation going on here.
Right. Which make it crazy. Like that could be a recipe. This could be expose our fucking low-key casualness, because I was looking into this for the last day or two, and I'm like, dang, what the fuck? This could end up being pretty fucking cool.
Go ahead and name off all of these Asian fighters from.
Yeah, absolutely not. I've just been watching highlights and shit, I guess. So yeah, don't do that to me, please. But I was just like, whoa, fuck. I gotta, at least, so I'm aware of what it is,
Yeah, no, of course. Let's take a look at this this main event. We got Derek Lewis coming off of 2 consecutive losses. The only The last time he had 2 losses in a row in his career was back in 2018 and 2019 when he dropped 2 to Daniel Cormier and Junior Dos Santos. He's coming off of his losses, his knockout losses to Tai Tuivasa, Sergey Pavlovich. I should mention he is 1-3, dating back to 2021. He has that loss to Cyril Gane in there too. But Derek Lewis seems to do relatively well in the Apex. We know, when you take him to his hometown, to Texas or to Houston, he doesn't do so well there. The nerves come on. And he has, like you mentioned, a guy in Sergey Spivac that we've been relatively high on with a really threatening ground game. Does Derek Lewis still get to employ that that trademark anti-jiu-jitsu magic where he just decides, nah, I don't want to be down here anymore, and he bench presses his opponent off of him? Or is Sergey Spivac going to hand him his 3rd loss in a row here?
Sergey Spivac's going to hand him his 3rd loss.
No faith in Black Beast Derek Lewis. He was kind of,
I love him,
venting that about people not having faith in him this time around, and I saw some videos.
He's my Instagram soul, like North Star. You know what I mean? So I kind of like, I love him. I don't like him. I don't hope he does well. Like, I absolutely love watching this guy. I've loved watching this guy fight for a long time. Mm-hmm. His Ronda Rousey meme series, absolutely amazing.
That stuff is legend.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been really cool to see his career, but I think we've seen it happen, and it's kind of hard. I hope he wins. I would be very happy for him to win, and classic Black Beast knockout, just fucking one punch, just the guy's out, and it looks crazy, like he killed the guy. But there's nothing I've seen in the last 2 years that really makes me think that that's going to happen, dude. Mm-hmm. And 2 years is a long time.
Now, I can't fault you for leaning that way because of his recent performances, and just the fact that Derek Lewis hasn't really shown us that he's reeling for or wanting to work towards a title shot. He's kind of just in this division now, probably just more focused on getting back in the win column. I think the only thing that leans me towards Derek Lewis a bit, I still don't know if I'm 100% picking him, is the fact that it's a 5-round fight, and it's just kind of hard for me to picture Sergey Spivac just kind of fighting the perfect fight, getting him taken down every round, and not eating, that Derek Lewis shot, trying to close the distance in at least one of those 5 rounds. Because it's hard for me to imagine Sergey Spivac finishing Derek Lewis, because he's just not the kind of guy who necessarily gets it done on the feet all the time. And with Derek Lewis, we've seen in his recent performances, like, you want to knock him out. Like, certainly a superior grappler can take him down and control him there, but to do it across 5 rounds, a bit of a tall order for Sergey Spivac, I think.
I think you're correct. I can't fault you for any of what you said, and I think that's a really good take. But I think everyone has to have a 5-round fight at some point.
Sure.
I mean, you're going to tell me that John Jones didn't just have his first 5-round fight once? Like, you got to have it. So it's either you do or you don't. And I think a point that you made, I can make a counterpoint to, of Derek Lewis being a little self-aware of as far as where he's at in his career, where he's at in the division. I don't think Spivac is in that mindset right now. Oh. And I think he's seeing this as more of, I want to be a champion. I don't think there's any better up with Ngannou gone now. With, Aspinall being out, and who knows how that's going to go. With his buddy, the Moldovan Bear, kind of needing to get back in the win column. Really outside of Curtis Blades and Cyril Gane, it's not like a tall task. It's not like a bantamweight thing where it's like you're Cheeto Vera and you're in the bantamweight and it's like, fuck, I gotta fucking go through the 27 Yankees to fucking win. This guy literally is 2 fights away. If Spivac wins here, he's 2 really good fights away from being like, okay, where am I? What am I going to do? And guys like Almeida, Pavlovich is pretty much where Spivac would like to be.
Yeah.
But, Well, I mean, I think with the fact that Stipe, what the fuck's that? What even is that? I mean, what even is that?
Uh-huh.
Um,
What are we doing
you
here?
know, John. There's a huge chance that John Jones comes and fights Cyril Gane and looks like shit, and it's like I just don't got it anymore, boy. Sorry about that.
Mm.
See you guys later. You know, there's a
Yes.
big good chance that that could happen. So I think, and I think Spivac knows that, and I think those boys from that area, they're just crazy and they're not self-aware like that. He in his mind, he thinks he's the best heavyweight on the planet. In his mind, he could be wrong or right, or we'll see, but in his mind he thinks he is. And I think that's a huge part of anything in life, but combat sports for sure. And he sees Derek Lewis as, I'm going to fucking, I need to, because look at where Pavlovich is being spoken about now.
Yeah.
And I mean, Spivac has a better record than Pavlovich had before he fought Derek Lewis. So he's seeing this as like, I can fucking turn 2023 could be his year if he starts it here. You put two fights in, you're talking about early 2024, depending on where it's at, he could be right there with two big fights.
You know, you make a really, really good point pointing out like the way that the top of this division is shaping out right now, or the potential. You didn't quite come out and say it, but the potential for a bottleneck or a logjam with John Jones coming in to challenge for this vacant title against Cyril Gane. It's like you mentioned that John Jones could potentially just lose and go away.
He could just look like shit, and Gane can just fucking jab his face off, and it's like, what the fuck,
right?
You know.
But if it's a close fight and with Gane, emerging the victor, or vice versa, there's also the very, very high chance that they run it back. That could easily turn into a trilogy there, just for the potential that Gane could be like the first guy who officially beats John Jones. Yeah. With that kind of time, or with that being, how the top of the division is unfolding, that gives Sergey Spivac a chance to go in here and kind of establish himself and kind of like, fight tooth and claw and nail and get into the contender, get into that top five, and he's got a lot of guys that he can do it with, guys who still have a lot of name value, who kind of present the similar kind of threat as Derek Lewis. If he can get this Derek Lewis win here, maybe he can move on and fight a Tai Tuivasa, or a more interesting fight. Maybe avenge his loss to Aspinall when Aspinall is healthy and comes back. There's a lot of different directions that it can go for Spivac. Still having a little bit of trouble envisioning a win for him here. No, just because Sergey Spivac is like classically the kind of guy that Derek Lewis performs well against.
We've been seeing
not
that
necessarily. True. Not necessarily like his style, but just that gatekeeper role that Derek Lewis has played before, where it's like this guy, kind of coming up from that, fringe, like that number 7 through like 14 range of ranked guy. I'm going to go ahead and stick with Derek Lewis just for parity, just so we can kind of, be on opposite ends.
Right.
Opposite ends of the pick.
There's a big part of me that hopes you're right.
I don't really care either way. I have no interest in this fight.
I care about this guy. I really do. I really hope that he can continue. He can turn it around. I don't think so, though. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. And it's my balls was hot was a while ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And he's definitely not long for this division, like Sergey Spivac. Like Sergey Spivac is definitely going to be around a bit more. Like Derek Lewis is showing the mileage.
I just think it's the mentality of it.
Well, you mentioned like Sergey Spivac believes he is the best in the world. I don't know that Derek Lewis has always believed that about himself. And right now, like if we sat down with Derek Lewis, no microphones, no recording, just hey, level with us, dog. Like, I'm doing this for the money. He's never really been shied away from the fact.
He said that before.
Absolutely.
He said that before. And it's like, that's a whole different thing. And that's great. I mean, fuck, dude, I don't do shit that I do if it wasn't for getting paid. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I can't fault him for that. But I think when you get to when you're fighting, and your mind has to really be in it, dog, because you can turn into Smiling Sam Alvey real quick if it's just like, I got kids to feed and shit.
Yeah. Well, now that we've submitted our picks for that fight, dang, I said we were going to do 9:30 to 10. Short episode today, by the way, everybody, because it's just not a whole ton there. And
I just wanted to shit on the Samoan community, and I also wanted to shit on the Cowboys and Raider fan base, not the organizations, fan bases. You're pieces of shit.
So let's keep it with heavyweight MMA and switch over and talk to a legend who's going to be hanging him up this weekend because Fedor Emelianenko will be rematching Ryan Bader for the heavyweight. Is it for the heavyweight title? Let me take a look.
It's heavyweight.
It's for the heavyweight fucking title. And we can't not mention Fedor. He's pretty much the last vestige of the true Pride fighters. After this, I mean, there's a handful of guys who fought with Pride that are active, in other organizations, but none like actually in Japan that I could think of anyways. There's
Nick Diaz, right? But he fought here.
He fought in the US only. He never actually fought over in Japan. So man, this is I've been pretty checked out on Fedor for a while now. The mystique died a long time ago, especially probably when he almost lost that fight to Brett Rogers. I'm not going to fault anybody for getting triangled by Fabricio Verdum, but then he had some tough losses there that kind of killed the legend a little bit. Antonio Silva, Dan Henderson. Funny enough, though, looking up Fedor's record a bit ago when I was like pulling up, the fighters' records and stuff for reference, I was over here thinking like, man, how many losses in a row has it been for Fedor? How much red am I going to see right now in his loss column? No, he's coming off of a 2-fight winning streak, and since 2011, since like mid 2011, he's only lost 2 fights to Matt Mitrione and Ryan Bader in 2017 and 2019. Now, we can go ahead and say. We can go ahead and address the elephant in the room. Man's been fighting cans for like most of the later years of his career. You got your Jaideep Singhs in there. You got Fabio Maldonado, which he did not beat Fabio Maldonado. Yeah. They had to use smelling salts in that. I remember there's a video where they zoomed in on his quarter's face where they're literally putting the smelling salts under his nose, and you can see Fedor's eyes perk up. And I'm like, dear Lord, nice. The last emperor. He's locking horns with Ryan Bader. Any surprise here or shock that Bellator, knowing that this is going to be Fedor's retirement fight, said, fuck it. Yeah, no, it'll be for the title. It'll be for the belts, everything. We're doing it big. Is Fedor still moving numbers for Bellator?
No. I think it has a lot more to do with who he's fighting. You know what I mean? I mean, Ryan Bader, what the fuck? How's that your heavyweight champion?
Exactly. I thought it was somebody else. I knew he was the double champ for a bit, but I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, see, that just tells you. I think he has a better than average shot to win. I mean, he's crazy. Fedor's crazy. I would never say he couldn't win. And then, he's probably on a pretty decent cycle right now. He's fighting for Russia. This is a Russia versus United States deal. I think he could win. I don't see how that's outside of the realm of possibility. He has that overhand right. There's an overhand right that if Ryan Bader tries to put his head down the wrong way going for a shot, he can get hit with it and he can get knocked out.
Certainly. Yeah, and we've always seen Fedor perform well against when he's outsized, against larger opponents, and that hasn't always necessarily been the case with smaller guys who are a bit faster. We've seen
he does well with wrestlers, with pure wrestlers. He's very good, especially
when he's got some ropes to grab onto.
Yeah. Damn.
What was your first exposure to Fedor Emelianenko, if you remember? Like, what was your first?
Getting slammed by Kevin Randleman and not losing, and then fucking winning. Yeah, that was mine. He had an awesome, just his run in Pride was so crazy, and then just hearing the way Boss would fucking ball wash him like before and after, and then the cutaway scenes. Like they used to have like little mini skits in between fights, and then of course the sweaters, um, these sweaters. Those are cool. But yeah, the Kevin Randleman fight was my first exposure to him, and the I remember watching a documentary about how he trained, and it was mostly with like kettlebells, and it was like my first introduction into combat sambo, where it was like I didn't even know that existed. Now it's like all anybody really talks about.
Right.
But you know, his brother and his brother's sick ass fucking Russian prison tats. Those are fucking sick, dude. I went on a whole day of just going through Russian prison tats. I remember, I think I sent you some.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, these are badass. Yeah, but I remember that documentary. Like, he would train really hard and then go out into the snow and just get super cold, and then go into like a Turkish bath and get slapped down with like these herbs,
Banana
like,
leaves or something.
Yeah. And just like, dang, dude, this guy's badass.
I remember looking at some of that stuff back then and thinking too, like, man, this is all you need, huh? Yeah, like,
yeah,
got it all figured out. These idiots over here with their like big, like state of the art facilities and everything. And Fedor's just out here in the woods, just shadow boxing, fucking swinging around a sledgehammer and kettlebells and
Story Oscar.
Yeah.
Damn. And then it's like nowhere. They said that's like not even. You have to go through nowhere to get there. That's insane, dude. That's so crazy. And his brother just being wild like that. His brother's like legit Russian mafia guy, correct?
Oh yeah, he's rotting in a cell right now.
Yeah.
From I mean, I don't really know all the details about whatever he did, but he was in and out of jail for a while there. And I thought he was going to be like a great addition to like the heavyweight landscape too, because his brother was a legit heavyweight, like a big boy. Fedor was always been this undersized, like kind of pudgy heavyweight who looks like he could potentially make like 185 if he really got crazy with his diet. But Alexander,
and from what I understand,
something else.
His brother was a big reason why he didn't go into that life, because he really like freaked his mother out, and he didn't like the way it made his mom feel, like seeing his brother kind of go through some of the shit that he did when they were younger. And I guess his dad wasn't like the best guy ever. So it's like, okay. But one of the things that really like kind of I think the stoicism, I remember when I was young like that, and I was like trying to be Sigma male and shit. I was like, dang, like just not caring about anything.
Yes.
And just kind of going like, and that's a really good way to go through life. It's just like, shit's going to happen to you, dude. Kevin Randleman's going to slam you on your dome. And what are you going to do after that happens? Because something has to happen after it happens. And if you let your emotions get the best of you, then you're fucked. And
Kazuyuki Fujita is going to hit you with a fucking haymaker that's going to put you on the stanky leg.
And one of the things that really, really, really like resonated with me about him was the fact that you couldn't really, or I guess the thing was is that he was buyable, I guess. Like, what was it? He did that Anoki Boombaye or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then and then he got bought. Even the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza, like came and bought him out. Like, it was like, wasn't it his trainer or something? They are his manager. So he went to Anoki. They stole him. Like, he was fighting in Russia, and then he had won like Master of Sport or whatever it was. And then the Japanese were like, the pride of, I guess, like hot for him. And then Anoke Boombaye he had a kid coming, and then they offered more money. And so he was like, okay, that's fine. And so I think he did a couple of fights with them. And I think
them might have been
he had a similar trainer.
Hongman Choi fight that was in New Year's Eve Yaranoka event. That giant Korean guy.
Yeah.
Or he might have been.
Yeah. Oh, no, Hongman Choi, you mean?
Yeah, Hongman Choi.
Yeah. No, he fought Hongman Choi in Pride, no?
No, it was a New Year's Eve event called Yaranoka. Well, that I'm looking at right now.
Oh, okay. Because I know that was like they used to do New Year's Eve, like Bang or Dynamite or whatever it was. That might have been one of them. But and then his manager, the Yakuza, came with a gun, and they're like, "Okay, so Fedor's ours now." And then they're like, "Really?" And then I guess Fedor was like super scared, and he had a kid, and so he just said, "Okay, fine." Whatever.
Not the only time that he's been kind of like threatened or strong on, because a person that we've mentioned many of times on this show, Kadyrov, threatened his daughter also because he was critical of Ramzan Kadyrov. I don't remember what his public criticisms of Kadyrov were.
Have you seen the Hamzat videos where Kadyrov's like ragdolling Hamzat
Yes.
Chimaev?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just letting him throw around, or letting his sons like toss him around and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Apparently, Fedor's daughter was like kidnapped for a few hours. He said something, publicly critical of Ramzan Kadyrov, and his daughter was like assaulted, and they didn't know where she was for a bit, and then she was just like randomly dropped off somewhere in the city. So just to kind of like scare him, like you don't fuck with
take
this.
that letter serious, Dana.
Yeah,
or take that open. Man, love the guy. I hope he beats Ryan Bader. I don't really care. I follow Ryan Bader on Instagram. It's whatever. He's always showing his wife's ass.
Yeah, Ryan Bader's a nice, tall,
nice and
a warm glass of milk. I got to ask you, while we're on the topic of Fedor, if we're going to talk legacy, where does he fall in the GOAT discussion? Was he ever your number one, your GOAT heavyweight? And when would you say that changed, if it ever did, or do you still consider him?
Like 2011, 2012, right? Then John just went like way out into the stratosphere of like, no one's going to catch me.
Yeah.
I think it was just, I can't remember. You'll probably remember better than me, like what it was. Cause I know Dana kept saying like, we kept trying, but he just didn't want to fight for 12 grand. He didn't want to fight for 12 and 12. I mean, what the fuck's wrong with him? Didn't he fight for Affliction?
Yeah.
For like 2 fights.
Yeah, he had 2 fights with Affliction where he fought Tim Sylvia and Andrei Arlovsky.
That Arlovsky knockout was sick because Arlovsky tried that double knee and then he just being out cold in the middle of the air. That was sick.
Yeah.
That was a good fight. And he was losing.
Yeah, that and the whole Affliction promotion was built on Fedor's back. I mean, Josh Barnett pissed dirty and had to pull out of their fight, and it wasn't even necessarily like, I don't recall if this was like the week of that Josh Barnett failed the drug test, and then they just decided to scrap the whole card, and it ended up killing the entire promotion. So it just goes to show, like, they really needed Fedor to be on the marquee for every one of those cards.
And then he fought like on CBS, right? Was it for Strike Force?
Strike Force, yeah. For me, Strike Force is where we kind of saw that luster leave a little bit, where he struggled. He ended up getting the win, still a knockout win over Brett Rogers, but Brett Rogers was giving him all sorts of trouble, and that was when it kind of started to first see. And we had our guys like Cain Velasquez and Junior Dos Santos on the come up around that same time in 2009, 2010. So that's when it kind of started to become pretty apparent. It's like, okay, Fedor is not necessarily going to be considered the best heavyweight in the world for a whole lot longer, and then on top of that, he loses his next 3 fights. But even before that, I'm thinking, okay, who does he have here to beat, who he can actually cement his legacy or kind of keep himself in the conversation of being considered the best in the world compared to whoever's holding the strap over in the UFC.
Yeah. Do you think? I think Prime John Jones beats a Prime Fedor.
Oh yeah.
Do you think a Prime Daniel Cormier beats Fedor? I do.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, definitely. I remember when they were still calling Daniel Cormier Black Fedor back when he was in Strike Force, because he really legitimately, like, his boxing was very, very similar. The kind of looping punches that he would throw. And
just the suddenness, the sudden bursts of just wild, like world class athleticism.
Yeah.
It was just like Loyu. He looks chubby, he looks slow, and then whoa, like a real quick, like whoa, what the fuck? like Cormier, Prime Cormier was fucking crazy like that. Like when he threw around fucking Dan Henderson, remember that just went out of nowhere. He just picked up Dan Henderson and tossed him like so quick,
kicking his legs out while he's running away and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Fedor had those crazy moments like that where it's just like lower you down, just kind of like hands around his shoulders, and then just 1, 2, 3, and you're like ragdolled or you just got punched really fucking hard. Yeah. But I think Prime Cormier would have beat him.
Yeah. Fedor really seemed to build his career off of beating guys much, much bigger than him, being like I mentioned earlier. And then also coming back from some serious adversity, like really flying close to the sun. You mentioned like getting slammed by Kevin Randleman, a slam that would fucking break either of our necks easy, like anyone, kill the fuck out of any regular human being. Yeah. But I mentioned that could have
broke Kurt Angle's neck.
Absolutely. Then there was I don't know if you remember this, but my first time seeing a Fedor fight live, not in person, but like live on TV as it was happening.
Was Brett the Grim?
Was no, it was Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt, Pride Shockwave 2006, and Mark Hunt.
I saw that one too.
Yeah, he had him in a deep key lock. Like I was like, what the fuck, Mark Hunt?
Yeah,
submit Fedor right now. That was my first Pride event too, and it was like the second to the last Pride event ever. So I'm like over here, like, oh my god, I get to see Fedor fight, and I'm looking at this unfold, and I'm thinking, holy shit, Mark Hunt's gonna fucking do this right now, and he hits the reversal and he sweeps him, and then he ends up getting him with a Kimura.
Did you know that one? I thought that the Lynn Hart, the Pride announcer, was working for one, but they just hired a lady that sounds like her.
Yeah, they have some kind of a imitate because she's still she's working for Ryzen.
Yeah,
I follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, you can like have her do your fucking wedding and shit.
I don't recall. I think she might have posted something along the lines of like,
you can like pay
professional
her to
services.
Like do your like, yeah, dude, that'd be sick.
And the groomsman.
Yeah. United States of America.
Yeah.
Oh man, fuck yeah, dude, she's badass.
So yeah,
typical Fight Plug podcast just go way out of fucking nowhere to talk about Lynn Hart. But like she used to fucking do that. That was a big part of the
production, like just a big part of that Japanese JMMA feeling. You know, it's not complete without her.
Yeah, when they would line up all the fighters and Fedor came out in his fucking like tracksuit, and then he's just standing there like just cold, like looking at, and then they come up on like a lift with fucking like sparks and shit. Badass.
I went to a 559 Fights event in Visalia this past weekend.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and I had some friends go out there, and one of their friends was fighting. So I was like, all right, I'll go come by and check it out. And in between, like every few fights, they have a grappling match. And so they had the first two come out and grapple. And one of the guys was coming out, and he was wearing like a rash guard and gi pants. And like my friends there, they all do like jujitsu and stuff. So they're like, oh, he showed up in like fucking jujitsu, his grappling gear or whatever. And I was like, he should have done the opposite. He should have done the sambo with the fucking the leaker shorts and the gi top. Like that's the fucking move right now. The knee pads or the shin pads.
Hell yeah, dude! Like the speedo and then the fucking sambo.
Yes, yeah. That was the shit. When I used to do jiu-jitsu back in the day, we'd look for any excuse to just do the gi top, but with the shorts on the bottom. It's like, yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Especially in the summer, like fuck those gi pants, man. But you still get the benefit of having the lapels and the grips and the sleeves and all that stuff to hold on to with a gi top. It just makes so much more sense.
Well, if the other guy's wearing it, if you're wearing it, that kind of sucks. Do you choke you with your collar?
Yeah, if you have an agreement, you're both rolling, deciding to do poor man's or the bastardized fucking sambo get up, but
yeah, just to look cool and shit for the fucking Instagram story.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. That was a time before Instagram.
Yeah. MySpace.
One more Fedor question. Does Fedor stay retired?
Yeah.
Is he really going to retire this time? Okay.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was looking at some pictures of him with like young Habib and shit. That shit looks scary as hell.
Fucking Fedor is 46. He better stay retired.
Yeah.
Man is on the wrong side of 40 already. All right, cool. Well, we can wrap it up right there if you want, or we can talk about one more thing. I have it in the bag. I don't know how far we're going to go with it, but did you want to talk? Did you want to talk about Conor McGregor being chosen or agreeing to coach this next season of Tough?
I was hoping it was going to be someone like Masvidal, but Masvidal's fighting Gilbert Burns.
Yeah, Masvidal is.
And I really hope it's not Michael Chandler. I don't want to see Michael Chandler. Hi guys, all fake. Look at me. Look at what I do and how good of a person I am, guys. It's like I don't want to see that.
I adopted black kids.
Yeah. I want to see. Yes, I want to see, because then it's going to be like where his kids came from and how they lived before they were living. Which is, dude. Fuck yeah, dude. You're great, Michael Chandler. That's amazing, dude. Anytime someone can reach within their hearts to adopt anybody.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's amazing, and you should be commended for it. I don't want to see it.
Just keep it to your fucking self.
Keep it to your fucking self, man. I want to see Conor go against another piece of shit. And I guess Tony Ferguson's like, I'll do it. I wouldn't mind seeing that.
Tony Ferguson did claim that he already signed the contract and everything, but there's no official announcement.
I would rather see Tony. I want to see Tony and Conor fight. I think that's a fight Conor should win, like he did with Cowboy Cerrone. I think that the UFC wants to do it that way before, and then fight Chandler after that, depending on what happens. So, and then, I mean, just watching El Kukui breaking dude's ribs and shit in practice, fucking Wang Chunging a wooden dummy.
Yeah.
Just walking around with a fucking baseball. I mean, building the mat, building the whole gym for the guys. That would be sick. Yeah. And then Conor fucking killing bitches on a yacht. Fuck yeah. I want to see that. I don't want to see like Michael Chandler, like, it was the inner city of Chicago, and we had heard that these boys were born, and it's like, okay, dude, no, I don't want to see that.
Yeah, I mean, the Ultimate Fighter was born out of like the trashiest of the trashiest, like mid 2000s reality TV, and you really should keep to the spirit of it, and meet chaos with chaos. If Conor is already signed on, I agree. I think Tony Ferguson would be just the perfect
stupid shit Tony Ferguson's gonna say, and then you like setting Conor up on a tee. You want someone who's going to set Conor up on the tee, and then Conor can just knock it the fuck out of the park. Where Michael Chandler's going to be like, I really respect you. Mm-hmm. I really think that my career would be nowhere without a guy like you. Oh, and then just some like weird ass fucking beach volleyball fucking scene, and it's just like, nah, dude.
The coach's challenge.
Yeah, no, dude.
Yeah, no, I need to see Tony Ferguson's own brand of just ludicrousness and confrontational like personality. And
he's a tough OG, so it's like, dude, come on. I think that's what it is. It has to be, right? It has to. That's good television.
Now the fight, I don't know if I would agree is as good as how they're going to interact on TV.
But Conor's coming back. They're both coming back from some pretty catastrophic shit. Yeah. You know? Mm-hmm. So they should really like be prudent with how they handle both of these guys' fights. I don't think it and they're very lucky that they have the opportunity to make this fight and kind of like squeeze the fuck out of it, because just the same as with John Jones, as like he may end up coming back and shitting the bed, Conor could come back and shit the bed and then his career's done. So, no better way to at least squeeze the last few drops of that orange than go up against a guy who's on the wrong side of his career.
Good point, man. Good point. Well, dude, it's been another fun, short, bite-sized episode. Thanks for joining me.
I guess bite-sized, like, I guess that for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're
two big boys, and we like them big bites.
Like them 1.5 hour, 2 hour episodes. No, today we're kind of trying to bring everybody a tight 40, maybe a tight 45. But of course, we'll be back next week with a full-length episode recapping everything that happens this weekend in this Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivac card. And then we will be breaking down all of the action that's going to be happening at UFC 284, Makhachev versus Volkanovski. That's going to be a great card. Well, the main event's going to be great. I can't speak for the rest of the card, but there's some interesting stuff on there too. Yair Rodriguez, Josh Emmett. Our boy JDM is back versus Rude Boy Randy Brown. A lot of good stuff. We'll be covering all of that and more, and I hope you join us again. Don't forget to hit like, leave a comment down below if you have any thoughts or want us to talk about anything on the next episode. Actually, don't leave a comment down below. We're going to be talking. I just talked about what we're going to talk about in the next episode, so fuck your suggestions. But do ring the bell.
Leave a comment about, you can't see it, but my boy's looking like DJ Khaled.
Yeah,
full DJ Khaled.
let me know what you think about my DJ Khaled transformation.
Have you ever seen that meme where that weird guy in the fucking? I think somebody sent it to me where that weird guy in the wheelchair is like, yeah, DJ Khaled, and the DJ Khaled's like, yeah, for sure, dude. Like, I totally understand.
I thought you were going to talk about the Papa John transformation meme.
The grease.
I've had 30 pizzas in 18 days or something.
Yeah. And then you in the greasy face.
Yeah. All right, folks. Thanks for joining us once again. Everybody have a good weekend. We'll see you next time on the next episode of The Fight Plug.